Hey everybody, welcome to this episode of Riding Horses. All right, today's going to be a little different. I've got some help out here today. My son Kolt is out here and he wants to work on loping Miss Purina around a little bit. So I'm thinking this is a great chance for us to show our viewers some of the things that Kolt's going to have to deal with while he's trying to figure out how to get this horse to do what I ask her to do. Now, Kolt, can you do me a favor?
Yeah.
Can you swing her hip towards me just a little bit? Just bring her hip over here towards me about one step. That'll work right there. So here's going to be the big difference today, guys. Obviously, Kolt's a lot smaller than me, and you see where his feet hit on the side of this mare. My legs are going to hang down about here, and there's a lot of cues that I'm using with my feet specifically for lead departure, stuff like that, where I'm going to be touching this mare down here somewhere. Kolt doesn't have the freedom to do that simply because his legs don't hang that long. So what Kolt's trying to do is figure out what he can use to get this mare to listen to him and potentially move in the same manner that I ask her to. Now, Kolt, before you go anywhere, can you just flex this mare to the left and to the right? Okay, other side. Back to this side. So the biggest thing I can do for Kolt is, if I'm going to put somebody like Kolt on one of my horses, I've got to get my horses as soft as I can in this bridle. I'm going to have to put more emphasis on my bridle, guys, because obviously he's not going to be able to use his legs to reinforce or back up what he's asking for through those reins, and he might not get. Does that feel pretty soft to you?
Yeah.
Okay, so what do you want to work on first?
Probably the right lead.
You want to work on the right lead? I tell you what, before you just take off loping, why don't you get her out here on the circle that you're going to be on and show us that you can just jog a circle or two.
Okay.
Which way you going?
That way.
You going right? Okay. Okay, that's a good idea. So you're going to switch your dressage whip. So your dressage whip is primarily always going to be on the outside. So again, as Kolt asked this mare to go somewhere, if I think about what I'm using for a cue to get this mare to bring some life up, if that cue happens, excuse me, from my knees or lower, if I'm using my legs from my knees down for all these cues to get this mare to go do something, that is not even an option for Kolt. So what Kolt's got is his dressage whip. Now he's going to use it in the exact same manner that I would. He's still going to squeeze with his legs. They're just going to hit that mare probably 6 inches or more higher than where she's used to from me. But he's still going to squeeze with his feet. He's still going to smooch, and then he'll use or follow up with the dressage whip if she doesn't respond to the squeeze and the smooch. That looks pretty good. Now, Kolt, steer right through here in front of me. Stay at the jog. Steer right through here and go the other way. Now, while you're jogging on that circle, can you switch that dressage whip to the outside? There you go. Sure you can. Good job. You need to get it on your wrist like you had it. Put it on your right wrist like you had it. There you go. Now get a hold of your reins. Now when she gets back over here to these banners, I want you to sit back, say that stop word, and we'll back her up a couple steps. Good job. Does she feel pretty good? Does she feel like she's listening to you?
Yeah.
Does she feel like she's following your steering?
A little bit, yeah.
So you feel like you've got enough control that we can go work on the loping?
Yeah.
Okay, well, you've decided since you've been working at this now, what is this? This is day number 6 for you, loping a horse around? Or is this day number 5?
6 or 7, I think.
You think it's 6 or 7? I think it's day number 6. So do we want to start with the left lead or the right lead?
I'll start with the right.
You want to start with the right lead? All righty. Get your dressage whip switch to the outside. So that right there was a pretty good example of a little bit of a squeeze and a smooch, and that mare loped right off for him. How's she feel, Colt?
Good.
Feels pretty good? All right, Colt, when you get over here, look at me, Colt. When you get over here, keep going, keep going. Turn in front of me and cut across and go back right. Cut across. There you go. Do that same thing again. Turn in front of me and cut across. There you go. All right, I want you to sit back and say that stop word, and we'll back her up. We'll let her rest right there. Good job. How'd that feel? Okay, so where you're trying to find your balance and get this mare where she's listening to you. So your first couple circles, I let you make some big circles, and you came down about in here on those first 2 circles, and then I stepped up there in front of you and said, hey, I want you to turn in front of me. Okay, all I was doing right there is trying to get you to change your circle to see if she'd follow your steering. Okay, that's something that you need to be working on a lot, because it's going to help you get a better understanding of how to use your reins. Okay, and it's going to remind your horse that she needs to really pay attention to these. If you came out here and you just loped the same circle all the time, you know, she might get to where she's figured out where that circle is, and she might not pay quite as much attention to these reins. Okay, so that's why I was stepping in front of you, having you cut across over there. That looked pretty good. Your feet look pretty good. That feel pretty smooth?
Yeah.
Okay, you ready to try the left lead?
Yeah.
Okay, so for some reason, if day 6, day 7 with Colt loping on this mare, for some reason, Colt, and I haven't figured out yet exactly what he's doing. If it's something with his reins, I thought I saw the first couple days that it looked like he was using his left foot a little bit more, but he struggles to get this mare in the left lead. Okay, she'll flow right off in the right lead for him, but he's got to kind of use the fence to find this left lead. So Colt, why don't you head over there to the fence by those banners, and you can kind of show them what you're working on.
Okay.
I think it's pretty cool that he's out here day 6. We've already been talking about right lead versus left lead. Now, Colt can't feel it right off the bat. He can tell if he's loping left and he's in the right lead versus the left. He can tell it doesn't feel as smooth. But I'm already trying to get in his mind that there's a difference between the left lead and the right lead, and get his mind thinking about it, and get his mind trying to comprehend how do we set it up. So you're going to try to move this piece off the fence, right? As you're headed down the fence, you just want to step the hip off the fence a little bit and see if you can smooch her up to the lope. If she ends up in the right lead, I'm just going to say no, and you can come right back and try it again. Okay, if she's in the left lead, I'll say yes, you just keep loping.
Okay.
All right?
Yeah.
So he's tipping her nose to the banners a little bit. There you go. You got to get her thinking forward. There you go. There you go. There you go. So a couple things going on right there, guys. He's trying to lope down the fence. He's trying to tip her nose to the fence. He's going away from the tack room where she's used to being unsaddled. But the biggest difference there is that mare is used to, when I'm sitting on her and I'm going down the fence and I'm asking her to tip her nose somewhere and move her hip somewhere, she's used to feeling my feet down there around those cinches, helping bring some life up and helping move that hip over. Kolt just can't do that because those legs aren't long enough, so he's just out here trying to figure out, how do I improvise? Kolt, that looked really good. Let's go ahead and stop her. Good job. Go ahead and back her up again. And back her up one more time. There you go, right there. All right. How'd that feel?
Oh, good.
So right here when you were starting,
Yeah.
you were having a hard time getting your forward, right?
Yeah, I was a bit too short on my reins.
Okay, so you were a little bit too short on your reins, so you felt that mare trying to come to you this way.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's try that again. See if you can get your hands adjusted on your reins a little bit where you're not quite so short, and see if you can find that forward motion a little bit easier. Okay? Well, I don't think it's going to take him long to figure that out. Once this mare gets more comfortable with how it feels from him. I've said this before, you know, probably having Kolt ride this mare around is about as good for me to watch as it is the time that I invest on her, because if I'm going to get this mare to a point where somebody else can ride her, they might not ride like me. They might not be able to use their legs like me. Well, obviously Kolt can't because his are so short. But if I can get my horse in a frame of mind where they're willing to listen, then we just got to figure out how we adjust things and then help that horse go find it. Kolt, that was way better that time. Okay, why don't you just come down to a walk? There you go. Just walk her on around there. When you get back over here, you can rest. So if I'm thinking about my forward cue comes from my legs, guys, primarily from my knees down, and I'm going to throw somebody up there that literally doesn't even have the option to use that cue, I'm going to have a horse in the frame of mind where they'll listen pretty good. But for Kolt's sake, and I think a lot of people struggle with this, I think a lot of people focus so much on getting their forward down here that they forget this piece back here is the accelerator. Now, Kolt might not be able to reach the spot down here that I use for my specific cues for a left lead departure, so to speak, but he can pretty easily reach this, especially, let me see this arm, especially with this dressage whip in his hand, okay? So my goal as he's working on this left lead is for him to figure out exactly where his reins need to be. He's trying to figure out where he can gain a little bit more control of his right foot over here and be using this foot a little bit more than he's using this one to try to help get her in that left lead. But let Kolt practice it enough where he can get it to where everything is a little bit more smooth as this mare transitions up to the lope. You want to try that again? Yeah, let's try the left lead again. Now, I want you to see how smooth you can get her to transition up to the lope. Okay? Now, I wouldn't even care if you were at a walk and you sped her up and got her to a trot and went from a walk to a trot and then to a lope. You don't have to go this time. You don't have to go from a walk right to a lope. Okay? Let's just see if we can get her to flow up into that left lead just a little bit more smooth and fluid, okay? Okay, okay. So as Colt started to go right there, she's coming off the fence, and that's what Colt said. She's going the opposite direction of where the fence is. Why do you reckon she was going that way?
Because she thinks that I'm probably going to lope in a circle, and that's usually, I don't go over this way more on my circle.
Okay, so you think she was heading that way because she's just trying to anticipate. I think she was listening to your reins. I think you steered her right over there. Think about these reins and be telling yourself this. Is there ever a time where you use the reins and this horse says, no, I'm not going that way, I'm going the other way?
Yeah.
There is. There's times where she refuses to listen to the reins.
Well, there was one time when I was loping in a circle and I was trying to get her to go this way more, but then she would just round way more.
You were trying to get her to lope to the right and she was drifting to the outside?
Yeah.
Okay. That's that spot right over there. We'll work on that right after you get the left lead again.
Okay.
But I need you thinking this. She's going to go wherever these reins tell her to go. Okay? So if I'm trying to go right down the fence and this mare's veering off this direction, you need to think about, what do I need to do with my reins to steer her back over here and get her where I want her? Okay? Just have it in your mind that she's always going to go where my reins tell her to go. That puts all the focus on me. I gotta be really good at knowing what I'm doing with these. Okay? So think about your reins a little more and make a conscious effort to steer her nose over there to the fence with your reins, okay? Squeeze, smooch. There you go. That was a lot more smooth, bud. All right, Colt, can you steer her in here in front of me? That's all right. Come in here and let's go this way now. I was gonna have you just keep loping and steer across this way, but that's all right. Let's come right over here to the fence and see if you can use the fence for the right lead the same way you used it for the left lead. So let's start right back here. Bring her back here. Now, you usually don't struggle with the right lead. You can usually pick the right lead up out here. Back her up a little bit, switch her dressage whip to the other side. So same thing that you're asking for with the left lead, only you're moving the hip to the other direction. Okay? So the nose is still going to the fence. You're still asking the hip to move off the fence. Can you do that right here in front of these banners and then lope off there in the right lead? All right, let's try it. You probably won't need, here, let me get these. She's throwing her head because she's got 3 bot flies after right there. Let's go ahead and lope off. Maybe you can outrun them. I might be there a minute trying to kill them rascals. There you go, there you go. Good job, Colt. Okay, so just keep loping. Cut across in front of me. Cut across in front of me. There you go. Cut across in front of me again. Good job. Now, Colt, look at me. Keep loping. Keep loping. Look at me. Look at me. When you get over there, you cut across and lope straight to me. Okay, turn right and come straight to me. Turn right and come straight to me. There you go. There you go. Now go that way. Go that way. Go do the same thing over there again. Turn right and come straight to me. There you go. Now you can slow to a walk. Just lope her on around, or excuse me, just walk her on around here and meet me right over here in front of the camera, bud. Come right over here. I'm going to try to kill these bot flies while I'm talking. All right, rest right there. Okay, so this is your spot where she wants to drift to the outside, right? When you're loping to the right, she comes over here and she's drifting out. So when you get to this spot, she's wanting to drift to the left, steer to the right and cut across just like you did when you came straight to me. That makes sense?
Yeah.
So if you do that 3 or 4 times, then when she gets over here, she's more likely to be ready to step and cut across that circle and not drift out so much. That makes sense? Go ahead and flex her to the right and left again before you go. Good. Other side. Good. Now turn her to the right there and let's go off this way. She feel like she's listening pretty good, doesn't she?
Yeah.
Okay. Now I want you to turn to the left and come right over here to the fence. And let's set this left lead up one more time.
Okay.
As smooth as you can. Switch your dressage whip, bud. Steer. Those reins are in your hand. The steering is up to you, bud. Steer the nose over there a little bit. There you go. There you go. Very nice, Colt. Cut across to me. Cut across to me. Come right in front of me and go that way. Keep going. Keep going. Keep going. Turn left. Turn left. Turn left. There you go. Do that same thing again, Colt. Cut across here in front of me. Look where you're going. And go left. All right. Can you lower your left heel a little bit? Your left heel needs to be a little bit lower. There you go. There you go. Now you can come down to a walk. Good job, bud. You see how much easier that's starting to happen over here off this fence? That left lead? Okay. You just got to remember as you start down the fence, if she's headed this way, then ask yourself, okay, what do I need to do with my reins? I need her right here because I need to make use of the fence, but she's headed this direction. Just use your reins to steer her back over here and get it set up like you want. Okay? That looked pretty good. You want to quit with that or you want to try one more?
I think I'll try one more.
You want to try one more? All right. Let's see if we can get it set up one more time. Start right back over there. Shorten up on your reins a little bit. Now hold on, hold on. You might not have been too short on your reins right there,
Yeah.
but you were picking up on them. You picked up on your reins to stop her, but you held your hands up there, and if you hold them as high as you did with them as short as they were, that mare's gonna keep backing up. So when you got short on them reins to stop that forward, to get her to wait on you, then you should have just set your hands back down and she would have stopped backing up. That makes sense?
Yeah, but I wanted her to back up.
You were trying to back her up? Okay. All right. Nice job, Colt. I got one more idea. Turn left and come right back to me. Come right back to me. Good job. Good job. I want you to try one more thing for us. That looks really good, okay? She's getting where she's going to be loping off in that left lead really easy for you pretty soon, okay? That looks pretty smooth. This time, instead of loping her off, let's just walk her down the fence, and while she's walking down the fence, step her hip over like you're gonna lope off in the left lead, but we don't want to lope off. We're just gonna do it at a walk. Okay? Let's try that.
Can I put my dressage whip in my saddle then?
Do you think you don't need it?
Actually, I'll just keep it in my hand.
You're probably better off just to leave it on your hand. You don't have to use it, but if you did need it, if you're just trying to walk down the fence here and this mare won't move her hip over and you need to help with that dressage whip, if it's on your hand, it's really easy to use. If you got it tucked in this D-ring back here, if you need it, it's going to take you too long to get it out. Okay? Let's just walk her down the fence and just move her hip off the fence just for a couple steps, and then you can keep walking. Okay? Yeah. Good job. Good job. Now just turn out there to the left. Now just turn to the left. Colt, just walk her. Colt, turn to the left and come back to me. Let's do that again. So you see how when you get the hip over there, she's trying to anticipate? Okay, that's perfect scenario for you to remind her that she needs to be patient and wait and listen to you. When I'm riding that mare, I'm going to try to get this other botfly. I'm constantly trying to remind this mare to listen to me, but to get her to listen to you, it's going to have to come from you. So the more times you work on something like that, the more you're going to develop the same frame of mind in this horse that she has when I'm on her, okay? Let's try that again. You're just going to do that just like you did, and then when she's moving, the botflies just keep coming. When she's moving off the fence like you want, then just let her walk straight down the fence and circle around and come back to me right here. If she goes to lope off, just use your reins like you did to pick her up and say, no, I didn't ask you to lope. I'm just trying to get you to move your hindquarters off the fence. That's plenty. That's plenty. There you go. Move that hip over again. There you go. There you go. Now go left. Good job, bud. So it makes it fun when your horse is... Now, she's not perfect, but it makes it fun when your horse is listening and you're not having to pull very hard on those reins, doesn't it?
Yeah.
So you remember the last time you filmed with us, or you were in one of our episodes, was what, about 5 years ago? Mm-hmm. You remember the horse you were riding in that episode?
Yeah.
What horse were you riding in that episode?
I was riding a pony.
You were riding a pony named Sue Ellen, right? Mm-hmm. How tall was Sue Ellen? About yay high? Okay, so which horse was easier to ride? Sue Ellen or this one?
This one.
And this one's way bigger, but a little different frame of mind, huh? Mm-hmm. Well, I think Colt gave us a really good opportunity to see how I'm going to come out here and I'm going to work as much as I can to get my horses, my definition of broke, get them where I can control each piece, but then to throw somebody like Colt up there that physically can't do what I can do because his legs aren't as long as mine, and then to help him figure it out. The number one thing I'm trying to create in my horse is a frame of mind that's going to let him sit up here and do that, and the horse isn't getting mad at him, the horse isn't running off with him, the horse isn't not listening to him. She's just trying to figure out what he's asking as well. But I think you guys saw a clear picture of this. Even though Kolt isn't me, when he uses that dressage whip, this mare views that dressage whip in his hand the same way she views it in my hand. He doesn't have to use it very strong, and she's going to put out some effort to get off that. So teaching him how to use that, letting him find his balance. We're working on this foot today, making sure this heel stays down a little bit, but for the most part, man, that was pretty cool, wasn't it? Mm-hmm. All right, well, thank you very much, bud. So thanks for tuning in to this episode of Riding Horses. Hopefully we'll get Kolt back out here with us some more in the future.